It's been 3 years since the U.S. began its military action against ISIS. Lucas Tomlinson at the Pentagon tonight tells us where things stand right now.
Since January, 80 ISIS leaders have been killed in Syria's Euphrates River Valley, U.S. officials tell Fox, all part of Defense Secretary Jim Mattis's plan to annihilate the terror group. About half the ISIS capital of Raqqa has been recaptured by U.S.-backed Syrian fighters. But officials say most of ISIS leadership has fled to cities southeast of Raqqa. Since the fall of Mosul last month, the majority of airstrikes now take place in Syria.
If you look at where we were with ISIS in January and you look at where we are today, it's a huge accomplishment.
3 years ago this week, with ISIS fighters fast approaching the U.S. consulate in Erbil in northern Iraq, the White House decided to act. A pair of F-18 Super Hornets launched from the flight deck of USS George H.W. Bush in the Persian Gulf and raced north to drop the first bombs on ISIS, marking the start of the air campaign. Since then, the U.S.-led coalition has executed more than 13,000 airstrikes in Iraq and nearly 11,000 in Syria. The U.S. military carries out roughly 80% of these strikes on a daily basis. At its peak in 2014, ISIS controlled an area the size of Ohio, with 5 million people suffering under its rule. Today, over 70% of ISIS territory in Iraq has been taken back, another 50% in Syria. Early on in the war, U.S. pilots complained about strict rules of engagement and a slow process to get those strikes approved. The process gradually sped up over the past 3 years as U.S. troops moved closer to the fight. The top U.S. envoy to the counter-ISIS coalition says the process has accelerated even more under President Trump.
The president made a number of decisions very early in the administration. He delegated authorities down to the lowest level in the field to allow us to take advantage of ISIS as we see opportunities. Since then, about a third of all the gains we've made against ISIS in Iraq and Syria have come in the last 6 months.
ISIS has spread beyond the Middle East to places like Asia, but the Pentagon is ruling out drone strikes against them in the Philippines. Brett?
Lucas Tomlinson at the Pentagon. Lucas, thank you.